was in a Russian prison. You would think.
The narrative surrounding Brittany Griner, a prominent WNBA player, has taken a dramatic turn in recent months, fueled by a combination of on-court incidents, off-court controversies, and speculative claims that have sparked widespread debate. The story begins with Griner's high-profile release from a Russian prison in December 2022, a moment that should have marked a triumphant return to her professional career and life in the United States. Instead, it has become a lightning rod for controversy, with allegations ranging from aggressive behavior on the court to questions about her eligibility to play in the WNBA. These discussions have been amplified by media personalities, particularly Stephen A. Smith, whose recent comments on a podcast have ignited a firestorm of speculation about Griner's DNA, her conduct, and the WNBA's handling of the situation. This narrative, while rooted in some verifiable events, is heavily intertwined with unverified claims, social media rumors, and a polarized public discourse. Griner's journey to this point began with her arrest in Russia in February 2022, when she was detained at a Moscow airport for possessing vape cartridges containing cannabis oil, which is illegal in Russia. She spent nearly 10 months in detention, including time in a penal colony, before being released in a controversial prisoner swap for Viktor Bout, a notorious Russian arms dealer known as the Merchant of Death. The exchange itself was polarizing, with critics arguing that trading a basketball player for a convicted arms dealer was disproportionate, while supporters emphasized the importance of bringing an American citizen home. Griner's return to the WNBA in 2023 was met with a standing ovation, but it also marked the beginning of a new chapter of scrutiny that has only intensified over time. Fast forward to May 2025, when Griner, now playing for the Atlanta Dream, found herself at the center of a viral controversy during a game against the Indiana Fever. The incident involved a heated moment after Griner fouled out of the game, which the Fever won 81-76. Television cameras captured Griner on the bench, visibly frustrated, appearing to mouth words that sparked immediate debate. Some observers, including former NCAA swimmer and conservative commentator Riley Gaines, claimed that Griner directed a racial slur at Indiana Fever rookie Caitlin Clark, alleging she said "trash" followed by a derogatory phrase. Others, including sports, the incident quickly escalated beyond a single moment on the court. Social media platforms, particularly X, became a battleground for competing narratives. Some users condemned Griner, accusing her of racism and pointing to her past detention in Russia as evidence of questionable character. Others defended her, arguing that the accusations were overblown and that the context of her remarks was unclear. The controversy was further amplified by claims that the WNBA was protecting Griner, with some alleging that the league's silence on the matter was indicative of a broader agenda to shield her from accountability. Indiana Governor Mike Braun even called for the WNBA to investigate Griner's comments, citing the league's swift response to unverified claims of racist remarks by Fever fans against Chicago Sky player Angel Reese as evidence of inconsistent standards. Amid this backdrop, Stephen A. Smith's comments on the Valuetainment podcast added a new layer of intrigue. Smith, known for his outspoken commentary, criticized Griner for what he perceived as ungrateful behavior, particularly in light of her release from Russian detention. He referenced a quote attributed to Griner that painted her as dismissive of WNBA fans and the league's atmosphere, suggesting that she viewed the increased attention on the sport as a nuisance. The quote, which described WNBA games as having transformed from a chill, quiet place to a chaotic environment with yelling fans, was later revealed to be from a satirical Instagram account, The Sports Memory. Despite its inauthenticity, Smith used it to frame Griner as ungrateful and disrespectful to the sport that had supported her. His comments resonated with some fans who felt that Griner's behavior, both on and off the court, warranted scrutiny. The most explosive element of Smith's commentary, however, was his reference to alleged DNA test results from Griner's time in Russian custody. According to unverified reports, Russian authorities conducted tests that supposedly revealed unexplained traits in Griner's genetic makeup, which some have interpreted as evidence that she may not meet the WNBA's eligibility criteria for female players. These claims have fueled long-standing rumors about Griner's athletic abilities, which some fans and commentators attribute to an unfair physical advantage. Speculation about her gender and biological makeup has been a persistent undercurrent in discussions about her career, often tied to her 6'9" stature, size 17 shoe, and dominant presence on the court. Social media posts have pointed to incidents like a viral poolside video that was not flagged by Instagram for nudity, despite showing Griner shirtless, as evidence of inconsistencies that warrant further investigation. These allegations, however, remain unsubstantiated. No credible evidence of DNA test results has been made public, and the WNBA has not commented on the claims. Snopes, a fact-checking organization, investigated similar rumors about Griner facing a suspension and fine for her alleged comments toward Clark and found no proof to support them. The lack of concrete evidence has not stopped the speculation from spreading, particularly among those who view Griner's release from Russia and her continued presence in the WNBA as emblematic of broader issues within the league. Some have gone so far as to suggest that the WNBA is protecting Griner to avoid a scandal that could damage its reputation, pointing to the league's silence on the Clark incident as evidence of favoritism. Griner's on-court behavior has also come under scrutiny, with critics citing her physicality as evidence of aggression that borders on bullying. Reports of teammates and opponents sustaining injuries during practices and games have been highlighted as unusual, with some attributing it to Griner's unique physical attributes. Her foul against Caitlin Clark, described by one announcer as ticky-tack, has been cited as an example of her overly aggressive play, though others argue that such physicality is part of the game. The narrative that Griner's actions are driven by jealousy or resentment toward Clark, who has garnered significant attention as a rookie, has gained traction in certain circles. This perception is compounded by comments from figures like Clay Travis of Outkick, who claimed that the WNBA banned his outlet from covering Griner's games to avoid further controversy surrounding her eligibility. The lack of transparency from the WNBA and the absence of conclusive evidence have only deepened the divide, with some fans demanding accountability and others dismissing the allegations as baseless attacks fueled by prejudice. The narrative around Griner's DNA and eligibility is particularly fraught, touching on sensitive issues of gender, identity, and fairness in sports. While the claims about her DNA remain unverified, they have reignited debates about the criteria for participation in women's sports and the potential for discrimination in how such questions are raised. Griner's supporters argue that the focus on her physicality and the speculation about her biology are rooted in stereotypes and biases, pointing out that her dominance is consistent with her exceptional height and skill, not necessarily an unfair advantage. Critics, however, continue to question whether the WNBA has adequately addressed these concerns, especially in light of the league's stated commitment to inclusivity and fairness. Stephen A. Smith's role in amplifying these allegations has also drawn criticism. His reliance on a satirical quote and unverified claims about DNA results has led some to accuse him of spreading misinformation for the sake of controversy. The Sports Memory Post, which he cited as evidence of Griner's attitude, was clearly labeled as satire, yet its impact on public perception was significant. Smith's comments, delivered with his characteristic fervor, have been seen by some as an attempt to capitalize on the existing tensions surrounding Griner and Clark, turning a complex situation into a sensationalized narrative. Others, however, view his intervention as a necessary challenge to what they perceive as the WNBA's selective enforcement of its policies, particularly when compared to the league's response to other incidents. The broader context of Griner's story cannot be ignored. Her detention in Russia, where she was held in a penal colony before her release, was a harrowing experience that brought her international attention. The prisoner swap with Victor Bout, a figure associated with significant criminal activity, remains a point of contention, with some questioning the decision to prioritize Griner's release. This backdrop adds a layer of complexity to the current controversy, as it intertwines her personal resilience with public perceptions of her character and gratitude. Griner herself has spoken about the emotional toll of her detention and the unexpected fame it brought, noting in interviews that she has had to navigate a polarized cultural landscape upon her return.